morning, everybody. It's Danny from Deep South Homestead. We're back in the greenhouse again this morning. Guys, the stuff is just, everything is great. Cucumbers, Cherokee yellow wax beans, everything is doing fantastic in the greenhouse. We are literally loving it. We're loving, I didn't know if I would say this or not, but we're actually loving the grand solar minimum. Because down south here, it's actually been cooler than it normally is. I mean, right now it's 68 degrees here in the greenhouse. Now the humidity is 97%, but that's a every morning thing. It'll dry up here in just a little while. Yesterday, the temperature stayed so cool down here. The greenhouse vents never opened. The fan never came on. I left the doors closed. The greenhouse was beautiful all day long. Stayed in the 60s and 70s in here. The plants are absolutely loving it. I mean, this is one of the benefits of having a high tonal greenhouse. Now the low greenhouses probably not going to do as good because the tops are just too low. They hold too much heat down too low. That's one reason Wanda and I decided to go with the high side walls. It's a little more aggravating, a little more expensive, but in the long run, the heat can get up above everything and get out of here, and the plants, because we have it open with the hardware cloth on the sides, the air can still come through here and it creates a vortex, and down low down here doesn't seem to get as hot. According to my thermostatically controlled stuff over here, the top stays about 8 to 10 degrees hotter than it does down the bottom, and with the vents up there open, a lot of the heat's just getting out. So we're actually loving it. So I'm going to finish picking these few beans here, and then I'm going to take you around the greenhouse, and I'm going to show you some of the other things that we have going on in the greenhouse. These plants are just magnificent, I'm telling you. It's just amazing at how well everything is doing here. I mean, it's just beautiful. I mean, the plants, the beans, everything's beautiful. Alright, one thing I'm going to show you here is one of our okra. Look at this right here. We got little okras in the greenhouse here. We didn't, based on last year, here's another one here. This one's already bloomed, fixing to make an okra on it. Last year this time, we was already in the triple digits, in the hundreds, the heat indexes. And we figured, well, maybe this year might be a lot like that, and we figured the green beans would probably play out pretty quick in the greenhouse, and the heat would probably begin to take out all the cool weather stuff here in the greenhouse. So we were kind of gearing toward that direction, and all of a sudden we're coming to the conclusion that the hot weather stuff's not doing as good in the greenhouse as the cool weather stuff is right now because of the grand solar minimum that we're facing. So the okra's a little far behind. It'll catch up eventually, but we're looking. Green beans are usually gone by now. They're reblooming, and let me show you something. Look back here. You see what that? You know what that is?
Miss Wanda planted a bunch of carrots that never came up.
Now they're coming up. Isn't that crazy? Carrot. That's just crazy. I'm gonna tell you. And our celebrity tomatoes here. These things, I mean, I'm 6'3" tall, and you see here, if I tie these up, which I need to, they're going to be above my head up here. And of course, they're on a little bit of a raised bed, but they're probably a good 4.5, 5 foot tall right now. Loaded with tomatoes, guys. I mean, if I pull these leaves back, there's tomatoes in here everywhere. Up under the bottom down there, look at all that. We took time the other day and counted. There was actually over 30 tomatoes on some of our tomato plants. So, and we have lots of them like that. So the celebrity hybrids are doing really well in the greenhouse. Now this is the eastern side of our greenhouse. We planted stuff to see how it would do on the eastern side and the western side. A lot of y'all have asked us, the direction of our greenhouse, because that's a big issue when you're putting a greenhouse in. Our greenhouses are facing north, east, and southwest because our prevailing winds come from the southwest in the summertime. We wanted it where when we open the doors, the wind just comes through the greenhouse. We can open the front and the back door and it stays breezy in here. That was part of our reason for that. And then when the sun comes up in the morning, it hits the eastern side, and when it sets in the evening, the eastern side's in the shade and the western side gets the sun. So that's a lot of our reasoning behind this. A lot of y'all had asked, so I thought I would just bring that out and tell you. Also, I wanted to show y'all, I'm also propagating some mulberry cuttings here. I don't know how it's going to work out in the greenhouse. We're just going to see. I got them sitting in some water. The cups have holes cut in the bottom of them so they'll wick water up. I've got them here. We'll stay on the journey with us and we'll see in a little while if these things actually root. Alright, we have some bell peppers here. This is from Hoss Tool. Look at these things. Look like trees. And, oh, look up under here. Look at that. Ooh, them things got a long way to go yet, though. I mean, they're pretty good sized peppers, but I like my peppers to be really big. So we're going to see just how well they do in the greenhouse here. They look beautiful. No insect problems. We had one here I was having a lot of trouble with. It was about to completely die on me. And guys, let me tell you something. I came in here and I put liquid phosphorus to it and calcium nitrate, and look at it now. That thing quit turning yellow and is now turned a vibrant green. It's
blooming
actually
everywhere.
I mean, blooming. It's going to do good, I believe. Got a couple of more okras right there that look like they're trying to pull out. All the rest of them died that were there, but those two beat the cool, and they're leaning toward the sun where it stays a little warm at because they love warm weather. All right, we're back up here at the front. These are our red roaster peppers. They're got little blooms on them in here. Now these are called sweet red roaster. That is the name of them. There's no other name. This is the #1 selling pepper in the nation. Last year it was. I hadn't checked this year, but they make a pepper about 8 to 10 inches long and about 2 to 3 inches in diameter. Fantastically sweet. We've got our bouquet deal from Hoss Tool here. One of them made it. And then guys, I have the peppermint stuck in amongst these red roasters here because we was having a little bit of insect problem, and it looks like the peppermint has taken care of it. Now we're going to start propagating this in some more pots and putting it around the greenhouse and other places because we're having really good luck with these peppermints. But I want you to look at these red roasters here. Look at this thing. Look how big and beautiful this plant is, and look at all the blooms in there. This thing is like a tree growing up here. I mean, this thing's probably heading toward 3 feet tall. And then we have our Freedom Blackberries here. You know, and I want to show you something, what I'm talking about right here. Take a little bit of a leaf off here. You see this right here? This is egg problems here. And guys, when you do like us, I mean, you have a high tunnel. We don't keep ours locked down completely all the time. We leave the indoors open, and when you do that, insects are going to get in here. And it's a daily job. We come out here, I spend probably an hour a day in here going through the greenhouse. I check all my plants. I'm lifting up leaves and things, and everybody's like, well, why don't you just spray them? I don't want spray in my greenhouse. I don't want any kind of chemical. I don't even want an organic chemical in here. I don't want nothing but pure plants. I don't want to spray nothing. Now I will spray a little, I have a bottle here. I'll show you this. It has about 5 drops of dishwashing liquid in it and pure water. If I begin to have an aphid problem, I will spray this on the aphids. But other than that, I don't spray nothing in this greenhouse. It just stays pure like God intended it. I mean, look at these things. They're just growing up beautifully. I built me a little trellis here out of some cattle panels. I just scrapped stuff. Now, because these are Freedom Blackberries, and I'm not really that familiar with them, it's a new variety for me. I don't know how tall the canes will get, so I may end up putting a bar across up here and putting things down for these to actually be clamped to go on up. It's just this is something that's new for us. You follow along with us and you'll learn while we learn on these Freedom Blackberries. Right now, they look gorgeous. These here are the Red Haven Dwarf Peaches. We have them in here. We're trying to actively get into the dwarf fruit trees in one of our greenhouses here, so that in the future we can raise a lot of our fruit in here where we can maintain it. And hopefully we won't have to worry about peach tree borers and all that kind of stuff in here. We'll be able to just take care of them. Now these are newly planted trees that were just sticks. And I'm glad to say that they're actually starting to grow now. Look like they're doing good. This here is our banana peppers. As you can see, they're starting to load up with banana peppers all up in here. We're getting several banana peppers in it. This one here is starting to do the same thing. We're getting little banana peppers on. Now these are the sweet banana peppers. We don't have any hot ones in here. One thing we've learned, don't plant hot peppers and sweet peppers next to one another because they will bleed over and your sweet peppers will become hot peppers. We have more here. Different stages coming on here. Hopefully we're going to have an abundance of banana peppers just off of these few right here. Now this here is one of our Empress peaches. Guys, this was just like those trees right yonder. These were sticks this past early spring. I want you to look at these trees now. Look at how beautiful that tree has become. And on the inside of it in here is what we call our magic gold. Look at those Empress peaches. Beautiful. Now the tree is only a year old and we've already got a couple of peaches on it, so we're excited about that. And then we have here, this is just our white patty pan squash. This is an old heirloom variety. You can see they're blooming good, doing well in here. It's a nice looking little plant hidden here up underneath the satsumas. And this is the Owari satsuma. We've got some satsumas stuck up in here. They almost hide up in these leaves. They're so dark green. We got several of them on the tree here. I pollinated these myself. I didn't want to overdo it because the tree was just a young tree. But guys, I wanted some satsumas in here. I mean, they're just in here everywhere. And then we come down here and we have this is the Bennings Green Tint patty pan squash here. Look at these things, guys. We've got patty pans over there. We've got another patty pan over here. And these are in pots. So I wanted to see, could you grow a patty pan squash in a container in a greenhouse? And the answer seems to be so far, yes, you can do it. And this is our North Star Dwarf Blueberry. It's a little small compact blueberry we have growing in the greenhouse here. Like I said, we're trying to actively get into some of the dwarf varieties in the greenhouses because with the grand solar minimum, if it gets to be too bad, we want to be able to have some fruits and some vegetables that we can raise in the greenhouses here. Now if we pan over here, you'll see that we have our asparagus. Now this is a Jersey Supreme. This stuff is doing really good in the greenhouse. And guys, this is a forever plant. It lasts the rest of my life, a good 20 to 30 years. And you look down in here, we have little asparaguses coming up here. One here and one here. One down here. Right there. Nice little asparaguses. Now this is the first year. These were 2-year-old roots when we planted them from Grower Solutions. We have some more coming up in here that'll be harvestable here before long. Got one right here sticking up in there. And then we have our companion plants for it. We have the flat leaf parsley here. We've been cutting off of it and dehydrating, so it's still doing really well. And then we have the curly leaf right down here. Ms. Wanda's constantly cutting off of it, dehydrating it. This stuff seems to be doing good. And we got a few little weeds coming up in there, but guys, we come out here in the greenhouse. It gives us a little something to do while we sit here and admire the beauty of the greenhouse. We just pluck a few weeds here and there. Not bad for us. Now over here in this corner, Ms. Wanda has her Malabar spinach coming up in here. And guys, you ever seen a spinach leaf that big? Look at that. It's bigger than my hand.
We're just letting it go right now. Danny's got to get me a trellis.
Yep.
That's something he ain't got done, but look, it's going everywhere. Once you get this, this goes all summer. Malabar is a really hardy spinach plant.
It reseeds too.
Yes.
It'll come back year after year. And then we have a petunia growing right here. The old-fashioned petunia is a great insect plant, guys. It's great for insect control. We have another one right here. We've got some sure crop strawberries that we have growing here. They came from Grower Solutions. They're doing really well. Got a few of them stuck around in here. Then we come on down and we have the yellow Marconis here. Now these yellow Marconis, these seeds were a gift from JM from the Nut House, a friend of ours. Gave us some seeds a couple of years ago, and I love those things. And I've saved the seeds from them and trying to keep those Marconis going, because you see down here, we actually have one started here. Be a little while before it matures, but now it is a sweet pepper. And then behind it here we have another one of Miss Wanda's little potted plants back here. And with it, we have the Malabar running back here. It's tied around some of her herbs here we got growing here, but it seems to be a good insect deterrent right here. This pot here has a dwarf banana in it, sent here by a friend of ours, a subscriber. I hadn't done anything yet, but I did dig around. I see it's still a little green down there, but it still hasn't shown any sign of trying to come up. And this here was one of our little dwarf peaches. I'm leaving it. It looks like it might not make it. I don't know. We bought several of them. And to lose one out of all of them doesn't bother me. But I'm just going to let it go right now just to see if it might kick back in a little bit later. This here is our Owari Satsuma. And look at that, guys. Look at the size of some of them already. Look at that. Beautiful.
Look at those on that side.
Look at that hanging.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5 at least. Well, the leaf got in the way. Like 5 of them in a wide, or 6.
Yeah.
Right there.
And then we have our Wiggins green tent patty pan squash here. Look at this thing, guys.
This is the giant of the greenhouse. The kingdom makes some kingdom stuff.
Look at it. The leaves are so huge. I mean, it's amazing. It's taking over. But what it's doing, we're noticing, is shading the pots, and they're not drying out as quickly. So that we see.
And it's blooming. Do we have? Oh, we've got
squash. Yeah, that's what I was telling you. We have squash.
But it looks weird compared to.
Well, it'll come on.
It's working, but we got squash.
We got squash.
And this peach.
Then we come over here. This is another one of our Empress peaches here. If you come around here, if we can figure out a way to get to it here, look at this.
We've got color.
We got color coming in our peaches. Look down in there.
Isn't that awesome?
This is our first year tree, guys, and it's already got 1, 2, 3, 4. It had more on it, but some of them fell off the other day.
So 4.
4 right now.
And for now, just looking at the trees.
Look at this. It looks like a food forest.
It is a food forest. It's a kingdom.
It's a kingdom food forest. This is like going into the Garden of Eden.
And then
I just saw something. Wanda and I, this is a Jolly Green cucumber plant, okay? We come out here and pick these things all the time, but just to show you how your eyes will fool you, I want to show you something right here. Look, hiding right here. That thing has been here all along, and I just saw it while we were making the video.
And Danny's pulled leaves.
I have pulled leaves and pulled leaves off of this thing, and I just looked, and I want you to look at that.
It's been there several days.
It's been here for a long time. Little baby pickle there's gonna die because of it, but
that's pretty awesome.
Look at that. That's been there the whole time, hidden up under those leaves.
And there's little ones everywhere.
There's tiny cucumbers all over this thing, guys. This morning I don't even know how many off of here this morning. And I go through and I actively look, and I'll tell you what I look for. Even though you're in a greenhouse, that doesn't matter. I prune my leaves. I look around. You see a leaf like that? Powdery mildew is starting on it, like that. I just take time, go through here in the mornings, like this leaf right here, on the corner of it there, because the humidity's so high in here, it's 90-something%. That powdery mildew will start. and I go ahead and I get these leaves off.
Yeah, and this plant won't last a lot longer, even though it's huge.
No, probably once the temperatures begin to rise.
And Danny's found cucumbers on top of the boards.
Yep, I found 2 this morning hiding on top of the boards up there. So
you have to check everywhere.
you got to look, and like this, I mean, this just goes to prove, I mean, I look every day, and I still miss one every so often, but it'll still make a pickle. All right, let's move on down. This is Miss Wanda's Anasazi beans here. We are sitting here looking at this, and we're seeing that lots of them are beginning to dry now. Here's one here, it's done dried up completely. They're starting to dry out really nice. All up in here, they're starting to dry.
We're fixing to take these out.
These will, as soon as they all dry out pretty good.
Probably
look,
within a couple of days.
See how they're doing? They're drying out really good. We'll come in here and we'll clean all these leaves out of here because we don't want to leave. I usually take that stuff and throw it down here on this row cover. And guys, let me tell you something. The beauty of the row cover. I can throw all this stuff down here as I'm doing it, and I come through here with a push broom, and I just sweep all this stuff down to the end. I put it in a big scoop, and I take it out, and I throw it in a pile, and it's gone out of the greenhouse. That I love about this stuff here. Makes it really easy to clean. Okay, this here is our California Wonder bell peppers. We stuck them in amongst the green beans here because we knew they weren't going to last forever. We decided to go ahead and just put them in here when the green beans and Anasazis come out. We'll already have the peppers in place. And people ask about the yellow cup. The yellow cups has petroleum jelly on it, Vaseline, and a little bit of dishwashing soap, and it's been helping to control the aphids. But guys, Wanda and I has invested in a system of these little boxes that hang around in the greenhouse here. We bought a bunch of them. They just haven't come in yet. They're sticky traps for insects. So we're beginning to have a few insects in here because we leave the doors open. And these things will trap insects 24 hours a day around the clock for us. And hopefully it'll take some of the pressure off of us having to come in here and hunt for insects all the time. Here we have the pineapples. Now, the funny thing is, these are Deep South Homestead pineapples. They look like they're just sitting. They don't look like they're really doing a whole lot. But I want to show you something. Bring the camera in here and I'm going to show you what I put in the greenhouse here to help control some of our insect problems here. Look at this here. I found him outside. Look at the little boy right here. Look at him.
He needs a name.
He needs a name. I have him in here. Look at him. He's fighting a losing battle because that's the end of the stick. But I leave him in here because he eats flies and insects out of the greenhouse. I've been trying to find me several of them to put in here. They seem to work out really well. I'm trying to use as many natural things from nature as possible to help control the insects.
I'm not sure what we should call him.
I don't know. We'll come up with a name for him before it's
Gecko.
over. He's in here all the time. I see him all the time.
Geico.
But then, look at the other Bennings green tint yellow patty pan squash from Hall's Tool. Guys, these things are giants. And I want you to look how many is on this one. Look in here. There's like 1, 2, 3. Oh, we got the bumblebees in here. Here's another 4. There's nothing over there. 5. There's 6, 7. So there's, guys, there's lots of patty pan squash on this one plant here. And this thing, again, look how big the leaves are. Isn't it beautiful? It's just gorgeous. Okay, we got our Cherokee yellow wax beans over here, and I haven't picked these yet. But guys, these things, look at them. They make the biggest, get it out of there, they make the biggest and prettiest beans. Look at that. Beautiful beans. They're all in here. I pull the leaves back. They're up here on the tops. We got to get them harvested out of here. We got a whole section of them here to do. They're doing really well.
They're still blooming.
They're still blooming. It really amazes me because I really figured this would have been the first thing to go because these are a cool weather crop. And it's already getting warm here in the south. But the greenhouse, like I said, this morning it was 68 degrees. And right now it just made it up to 70 while we're doing this video. But then, look at here. This is a lemon tree. Now I have two different stages of lemons on here. I pollinated it while I was in the other greenhouse. I got this size right here. Got a couple of them on there that took in the other greenhouse because the other greenhouse just was not...
It got too hot too
It just
fast.
got too hot all the time with the panels on it. It just got too hot. But then look at all the young lemons on here. They're just, oh, the tree's covered up with them. I didn't have to hand pollinate these. These actually pollinated themselves here in this greenhouse. I was amazed by that.
Yeah, they're just loaded.
Then, as we come on forward, we get back into our celebrity hybrid tomatoes over here. Now these are in the middle of the greenhouse. They're way behind the others because I planted them later, but they're kicking in and they're really starting to grow. Now I wanted to show y'all something if it's still here. See these plates here with the petroleum jelly on it? Got a stink bug right in the center of it. He got on that petroleum jelly and could not get off and ended up dying right there. So these do work. And there's little white flies all in this thing everywhere. It's just that Wanda and I have decided to go with the other sticky traps because we don't want to have to be constantly coming out, redoing the petroleum jelly, redoing the dishwashing soap. So we just decided to buy a bulk supply of the little sticky traps. And the tomatoes are doing really nice. Guys, these things, the celebrities are a nice tomato. I mean, if I pull it back, I mean, you can see all the tomatoes here, up under the bottom, up under in here. There's tomatoes all in there. All right, we're back to our celebrities that we first put in. That was our curly tomatoes that we decided we thought we might pull up in the beginning. But guys, I'm really glad I didn't because they pulled out. And I want you to look at something. Look up under here. Let me get one of them leaves out of the way right there where you can actually see.
How many's in that one spot right there?
Right here. Let's just take a look. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Right here, 12, 13.
And that right there.
13 tomatoes. And I want you to look at this. See how big that cucumber is on my hand? Look at that. And I lay that cucumber up there. Those tomatoes are huge. Look at that.
They look like they're going to bust.
They look like softballs. They're
Yeah.
so big. They're big as a softball that you play softball with.
They look like they're going to bust, and they're everywhere.
They're everywhere. It's not just here. You look all up in here. Look at the size of these up in here. There, and here, over here. They're all up above it there. There's tomatoes. All around the back side over in yonder is tomatoes. The plant beside it here has tomatoes everywhere in it. Guys, I'm really glad I did not pull these up. I think what happened was Danny just got a little slap happy with his fertilizer, and I limed it too hard, and I put too much.
Too much of everything.
I put too much of everything in here because I wanted to make sure this ground was really ready to go. I composted it. I mean, I did everything to it.
And this side has pulled out first.
Yeah.
And the others are coming out. The leaves are still curled, but
they're still curled and they're coming out, but they're now starting to get some tomatoes on them up in here. But
look at the
how
blooms.
high these things are. I'm having to reach over here. Look how high these jokers are getting.
And look at the blooms. I mean, thousands of blooms.
There must be 1,000 blooms on these tomatoes here.
If we make a fraction of them.
Yeah, if they just make a fraction, we will be, we'll have more.
They're starting to get the little ones everywhere. So it's not that they're not producing, they're just behind because they had to pull out of this curl.
They had to pull out of that shock.
But you see the leaves are starting. We've still got a lot of curl, but
Still some curl in there.
if they make it and they make tomatoes, we're good.
We'll be good. Yeah. And lastly, we have one more of our little Red Haven peaches here, our dwarfs we put here in the front. It seems like it's going to pull out. Looks like it's doing good because we spaced them around in the greenhouse in different places. We're all about location. If there's one place that they do better than other places in the greenhouse, then that's what we want to try to figure out is why they are doing better in that area. Looks like The peppers are against the eastern side are doing good. The peppers in the middle is doing good. The peppers on the western side are a little slower. So we've learned that probably we want to try to stay to the eastern side or the middle with peppers. The tomatoes on the eastern side are out. Those were put in later, but they're growing faster than the ones on the middle are. And the ones on the western side over here are doing okay. So we can't, so eastern or western on tomatoes seems to be okay. We're just experimenting with everything, guys. Now down the middle, look at it. Look at all this down the middle. It's just a food forest. That's all I can say. The cucumbers, I don't know how much longer they're going to go. They've made it to the middle of the greenhouse now. They've climbed up 8 foot on the side, and they've done one across 8 foot because the greenhouse is 16 feet wide. And I don't know how much further they'll go. We'll just keep an eye on it. We'll see how many they keep producing. Okay, guys, I hope today you've enjoyed the tour of the, we call it greenhouse. Technically, it's a high sidewall, high tunnel turned into a greenhouse. So hang with us, and guys, continue to watch us. If you're not subscribed, subscribe to us, because this is the King Dome, and it is producing abundantly. I know we're not into the heat of the summer yet, but guys, come with us and stay with us and learn with us here at Deep South Homestead. Thank you, guys, from Deep South Homestead.